Hi everyone, Nicholas Buffett here from Sunny Cyprus and welcome to today's tutorial. Now, you can see we're working on a past paper today and this one is June 2023, paper 3-2 for the IGCSE ICT examination 0417. Now, I have to say guys, if you took this paper for your final exam, then you were quite lucky because this paper is not that challenging, but I haven't completed the paper yet, but I have taken a glimpse at it because I gave this paper to my students as a mock exam. And I did notice that you do need to pay quite a bit of attention to the questions, but you also need to apply a little bit of common sense or just some understanding, especially when it comes to the HTML part, the web design part. But overall, it's not a very challenging paper. Definitely more than enough time. 2 hours 15 minutes is more than enough time to complete this paper. You should be able to do this in about an hour and 15 minutes maximum. Now, just like in the previous tutorial, guys, if I forget something, especially in the formatting of Excel and this, that, there, make sure you call me out on it in the comments. I really enjoyed the previous video. Some of these comments, you were all finding these little points that I might have missed out. And that just shows that you're paying attention. That's the same kind of attention you need to be paying when you're doing your examinations, because it's these little details that are going to get you those extra marks. Okay, enough about the intro. Let's get started with this paper. We're going to start off by looking at the question paper here. I've got my files already set up, and here's the question paper. Now, we see that we've been supplied with the following source files, these ones here. We can see, and then it says task 1, we're going to create the evidence document. Make sure your name, center number and candidate number will appear on every page of this document. So it doesn't say where, and save this document as that followed by your center number, candidate number, for example this. Okay, so first step is I'm going to create this document. So go to my work area. Here it is here. I'm going to right click. I'm going to go to new. And I'm going to create a new Word document. And I'm going to call that J232, I think. Let me just check. J2332 evidence. J2332. I have to keep going backwards and forwards here. There we go. So there's no space there. Evidence in small letters, underscore. And then I'm going to put, what does it want? Followed by your center number, candidate number. So I'm just going to put here CY127 underscore 1234 for my candidate number. Okay, now it's very important that you do exactly what it tells you to do. I'm going to open this now. I'm going to go into my header and just make sure I've added everything here. So it's CY12. So it doesn't say where to add this on every page, so I'm just going to put it in the header. Double click in here. Okay, and I'm just going to click on save. So my evidence document is set up. We'll just minimize that because we're going to need it again soon. Okay, so I've done all of that. I've done that bit, so we go down. Okay, so that's that part done. It now says task 2, image editing and file management. All right, so create a new folder called tasks in capital letters and locate the following files and store them in your tasks folder. I'm just going to move this over here to the right hand side here so I can just see both of these things. So here's my folder. I'm going to right click here, new folder, create that, call it TAS in capital letters. And then I'm going to find these files here, which I've got here, and just drag them into that folder there. So I want that one there, banner, that one, that one, that one. I don't want the evidence. I want the monkey picture there. I don't need that Excel file. I need the task style sheet. Was that a text file? Nope, I need the style sheet, then the text file, then the tiger picture, and then the tiger movie. So I'm just going to click and drag these in here. Now you can cut and paste. I don't suggest you copy paste because then you might be linking to the wrong files. Okay, so just move them out the way. And so I've done that. Okay, then it says, so let's go back, let's maximize this now. So now it says, open the file j2332 tiger.jpg in a graphics package. Now the package that I use, guys, is going to be Photoshop. Edit the image by. Now, what I would like you to do always, and I always stress this before you start working, don't jump straight away and do this and then read the line and execute it straight away. Let's just read over it first. Okay, in this case though, I'm just going to go line by line and execute so you can see why it's better to read ahead in the first place. So if I'm going to go line by line, I'm just going to open up Photoshop. I can find Photoshop, there it is. Now again, my screen is zoomed in, so it might look a little bit large, but that's fine. I'm doing this because some of you are using a mobile device to watch this video. Let's just bring this into view. So here we go. I'll just drag this and bring this up. Okay, there we go. And I'm going to open up my picture. So I'm going to open the task folder. I'm going to take that J2332 tiger.jpg. I can see this is a picture which is upside down. Okay, so I'm just going to click that and drag that into Photoshop. Or you can simply just go to File, Open, and find the picture, but just to save time. So here's my picture. I can see it's upside down. Let's see the question paper. So it says rotating it 180 degrees. So first thing is I'm going to go to Image, Image Rotation 180. Now remember, I'm executing this line by line. The next step is reflecting or flipping it horizontally so the tire is on the left. So again, I'm going to go to Image, Image Rotation, and I'm going to flip horizontally. So that we can see this tire here now in the picture is on the left. Next, we're going to do, cropping it to remove most of the tire, but none of the tiger. So if I just use my cropping tool now, like this, I can simply click and drag that in. Now, this always depends on what kind of cropping tool you've got up here. So I'm using width and height resolution here, okay? So there's my picture, it's been cropped. Okay, so I've removed, I didn't want to remove the whisk of the tiger because I don't want to remove any part of the tiger, it says. Let's just reduce that a bit. Then I'm going to go to, it now says cropping it to remove everything above the tiger's ears. So again, I'm going to click on my crop and I'm just going to move that down. I don't want to remove any part of the tiger, so up to there is okay. I'm going to press enter. And then it now says cropping it to remove, resizing it so that the image is 1000 pixels high, but without changing the aspect ratio. Okay, now I'm doing this line by line. So I'm going to go to image, image size. Let me just drag that up. There it is there. So I'm going to make the height 1000 pixels. So it is 1000 pixels there. And I've got this thing linked. Okay, so if I was to make this 1500, you can see the width changes as well. So we need to have these links. If we don't have them linked, we can change the ratio, let's say only the height, but the width doesn't change. So I'll cancel that and do that again. Image, image size, make sure that's linked. That's 1000 height, click OK. All right, now remember, I'm doing this line by line, which for me is not the right way. Now I'm going to go here and it now says cropping it to remove the right side of the image. So the right side, so that the image is 500 pixels wide by 1000 pixels high. So I've already made the 1000 pixels high, but if I now use the cropping tool, let's try again, cropping tool. As I drag this in to get rid of that, I can see it shows me the pixels. Now, if I can snap that there onto 500, well, that should be okay. Let me have a look. So if I press enter, it's a bit tricky to do this sometimes. So if I go to image, image size, I can see this is 500 by 1000. And if I save this picture, it's 1000 by 500, well, 500 by 1000. That's fine. It works. But if we read this paper and understand that the final result of this image is 500 by 1000 high, and we want to remove the tiger, the top part, or the left part of the tiger to get rid of the tire, the top part up to the ears, and then whatever's left on the right, we could have simply done this. So I'm just going to undo all of my steps. Okay, so that's where we started off. So again, it was image, rotation, 180, image, rotation, flip horizontally. And now what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to make that a bit smaller. I'm going to go to my cropping tool. And since I've read this and I know what I need to do, then I'm just going to put here for the width, 500, for the height, 1000. And now all I need to do is just to move my tiger, or just move this. So I'm just going to make this a bit smaller like this. Can you see that? So whatever I select, even this, if I press enter now, it will be 500 by 1000. But that's not what I want. I want the whole tiger. So I'm just going to do that. And now I've got the left side of the tiger with most of the tire removed without taking anything away from the tiger. The top part of the tiger, if I take that down there, that's up to the ears without removing the tire. And then what's left over is on the right hand side. I can simply press enter. And that's been saved. And if I check now, image size, 500 by 1000. That's perfect. That was like one step instead of 5 steps. So this is what I was saying. You have to read carefully, read through the whole process instead of jumping in and doing things line by line. Get an understanding of what it is you're doing. So the next step is, so I've done all of these. Save this new image in your task folder in .png format using the name tiger followed by your candidate number. So from here, I'm going to go to File, Save a Copy. This is, I'm going to go to my folder, which is in here, inside the task folder. There it is there. And I'm going to call that Tiger 1, 2, 3, 4. Do I need a, yes, I need an underscore there as well. See, it would have called me out that. And I'm going to change the format here to PNG. Okay, so it's tiger underscore 1234.png. Click on save. And I get this confirmation here. I'm just going to click on OK. And now if I just check in my folder, there it is there. Okay, so this is the original one and this is the new one. Okay, so I've done that. So now we're going to display the contents of your task folder showing the folder name, all file names, file extensions, and image dimensions and file sizes. So I need quite a bit of information here. So what I tend to do is this. I absolutely love the content one. So if I just spread that out, if I go to view and I use the content view, you actually get all the file names. So you get the file name, the extension or the file type, you get the date it was taken, the size, and you can also get the dimensions, but I'm not seeing the dimensions here. Now, you can do this because you can go to the details. So if I go to my preview, there we go. If I get rid of that preview there, I can now see the dimensions as well. But I'm going to show you another way. One of my favorite views is always going to be the details view. So if I go to details view and I use the details view, you can see, you see all the file names. It's more compact. You see the file types, you see the file size, but you don't see the dimension. So if I wanted to add another field here, I can simply right click on any one of these tabs. I'm going to go to more, and then from here I can choose any one of these to add. So I'm looking for dimensions, and there it is there. If I click on OK, I've also got a column now with the dimensions of my pictures. So this is perfect for me to take a screenshot. So I'm going to bring my snipping tool, click on new, and I'm going to take this screenshot here like this. I need to make sure that, now I'm going to draw on this, but I'm not going to, this area here is visible so that they can see the folder that you made, that all of the files are visible so that they know you've actually added the files in the right folder, and you've got the dimensions and everything else. So I'm going to go to my Word document and paste that there. Nice and big so it's readable. Now, the one thing I don't suggest is please don't use dark mode. I know I have dark mode enabled. I'm just doing a video tutorial, but please don't use dark mode, especially for screenshots, because printing does not show that clearly. So if you are going to use dark mode, make sure when you print this off, it's actually very clear. And I'm also going to press enter here and write here evidence 1. And I'm doing this to be nice to the examiner, because the easier I make it for the examiner, the better or the nicer he will be to me. So I'm just going to prepare evidence 2 here. Okay, I'm going to save that. Go back to my question paper and take a screenshot of the folder, place in the evidence document. I've done 8 marks, guys. Wow. That's a lot of marks. All we did was just modify a picture. Okay, next step is we're going to start with the web page. So I might as well close what I don't need. I'm going to go to Photoshop. I'm going to close this. I don't need to save this. It's already saved and I don't need to change the original picture. So I'm going to click on no. I'm going to close Photoshop and that's it. I'm going to leave my evidence document open. So we're now going to work with web page or web design. I'm going to be using Dreamweaver for this. I know some of you have commented and you've asked me if I can do tutorials on front page. I don't use front page, guys. I haven't used front page for at least 15 years. So I don't think I'm the best person to give you a tutorial on front page, but the coding which is used is the same. So you can use these tutorials even if you are doing front page. All right, so let's get started with this. You're going to create a web page and style sheet to promote the Tawara Animal Sanctuary. The web page and style sheet must work in any browser. All color codes are in hexadecimal and any new color codes must also be in hexadecimal. Make sure that your style sheet contains no HTML. I'm just going to highlight that part there because when I'm going to be checking my work when I'm finished, I'm going to look at these highlights and just make sure everything that I highlighted I can see in the printouts. Make sure that your style sheet contains no HTML. Make your HTML style sheet as efficient as possible. Okay, so the first step is create in your task folder a web page called task.htm. So I'm going to start that off very quickly. I'm going to open up Dreamweaver. Now, I'm not sure what Dreamweaver is going to look like in a zoomed in screen, so I'm just going to drag that up here. Okay, there we go. So the first step I'm going to do is I'm going to create file, new, HTML. I can't put the document title here. I just click on create. And then the next step is I'm just going to go to file, save as, and make sure I'm saving this in the right place. If I find my desktop here, that will be absolutely great. There it is. No, there we go. And I'm going to go to my folder inside the task folder and I'm going to call that TAS in small letters and click on save. Now let's go to the question paper. So I've done that. Right, this web page must be created using a single table and work in all browsers. The table must fit 80% of the browser window. The table must have a structure as shown in this diagram. So first step, guys, always when you're going to create the table is make sure you know how many rows and columns you're going to need for this table. It then says each table cell is identified with a letter. Some dimensions are shown. So I can see I've got these dimensions here. I need to add these. So if they're giving them to me, I need to add them in my code. Table borders must not appear. So borders must not appear on your final web page. All right, so first step, guys, is to identify how many rows and columns is this table. And the trick for doing this to make sure you don't make any mistakes is this: extend all the lines. So I'm going to extend that line, this line, this line here is going to extend that way. That's going to extend that way. This line here is going to extend. Ooh, my mouse control is not that good. There and there. And now looking at this table, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 rows and 1, 2, 3 columns. So I need a table which is 4 rows and 3 columns. So I'm just going to delete all of this now because that's just going to get confusing for me. So 4 rows and 3 columns is what I need to create this table. And I need that table to be 80%. Did it say 80% somewhere here? I do remember I didn't highlight that, you see. So I need that there. 80% of the browser window. So let's begin. So first step is, you can see here, as soon as you start Dreamweaver, the insertion point is up here. Now, this is a classic mistake. Students, I've seen many students do this. So as they've started here, they go to Insert Table. They create the 4 rows. There it is. I've already got this here. Table width is 80%. Border thickness is 0. They click on OK. They think, right, there's my table. Fantastic. Click here. There's no table in the WYSIWYG. So this area here is known as the WYSIWYG area. What you see is what you get. And the reason why is because if I undo this, my insertion point is not within the body section. And because it's not in the body section, although the table is there, it's not seen by the user. Think about when we put things inside the meta tag. So where we've got the meta tag here, or the head, sorry, where we put the meta tags in the head section, all these meta tags are not actually viewed in the browser by the user. The code is there, but they can't see it. It's not part of the body. So to make sure this works, the first thing you do, you're either going to click here to put your insertion point after the open body tag, or you can simply click inside the WYSIWYG area, and that will automatically bring your insertion point inside the body tag area. So insert, and I'm going to put a table, and here's my table. We want 4 rows. I've got that there already, 3 columns. The table width is 80%. So 80%, border thickness 0. Now you can put the border thickness to 1 if you like, just so that it's easier for you to work with, but only if you're that confident you're going to remember to remove that. So I'm just going to leave that as 0 and click on OK. So here's my table. We can see my table now has been generated within the body tag in the code, and what else I can see is my table in the WYSIWYG area. So if I click away, these dotted lines actually mean that these borders will not be visible. Now let's go and merge the cells that we want to merge. So the first one is A wants to do a col span of 3, so I'm just going to select these 3 here. Now in my properties bar at the bottom, I can just click on the merge button down here in the bottom left corner. The next one is B, so I've got col span of 2 here. Now the other way of doing that is right click table and you can merge the cells. I'll do that. Now there's so many different ways to do things with computers, so you know, whatever works best for you. The same with column D, or sorry, cell D, that's going to be a col span, these 2 here, table merge, and then these 2, they stay single cells, and I'm going to merge these a row span of 3, table, merge cells, and we can see here that it's done a row span of 3 in the code. Perfect. So I've got the setup of my table. Now I need to set the width of these cells which have been identified. So that one, why did these go? That one, and that one. So I'm going to go in cell, but this needs to be a width of 58. So this one here. Now some people say, why don't you just use the dimensions at the bottom down here in the properties bar where we've got the width? Well, because it won't, sometimes it won't accept it. So for the width, if I put this here as a 58 and I press enter, it doesn't accept it. But if I was to put the height as, let's say, 58, again, I get that. Now I get the height here. Can you see? That's been added, but the width didn't. So what I say is just learn to put that code in there. You don't want everything done. You need to understand a little bit of coding. So by clicking on this cell here, B, I'm going to go, it should highlight in this area here. Where am I? There. So where's my insertion point? There it is here. So I'm going to go right after the TD and I'm going to put space width equals to speech marks 58%. Okay, now this automatically tells me that I'm working with percentages. The fact that they've given you percentages means you're working with percentages. So here's where some of that common sense is going to come in a little bit later on. Width 42% of cell C. So I'm going to click on cell C, and here it is. Here's my insertion point in the code. So I'm going to click in the TD. I'm going to put width equals to, and I want, what was that, 42? 42%. 42%. And then these 2 bottom ones here, I'm going to click in here. I want these at 29%. So width equals to 29%. And I could just copy paste this down afterwards, but this one here, there it is, inside the TD. Width equals to 29%. Okay, let's just make that a little bit like that. Okay, so there's my table. Everything looks good. I've put my percentages for the cells it's told me. I haven't added anything else in. Now, if you do add anything else, for example, making cell D to 58%, it was not wrong, but you won't get any extra marks. You won't lose any marks. Remember, examiners are trained to mark positively. So if you do something extra which does not affect what you've been asked to do and you will get marks on, and it doesn't affect that negatively, you won't get extra marks, but you will not lose marks. And you should be able to use this to your advantage. So this is all correct here. We've done this part here. Next step is I'm going to save this. So File, Save. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so number 3 says use a video and source tag to place in cell B the video file J2332 tiger.mp4. The video must fit in the width of the cell. Display an appropriate text-based error message if browser does not support this video type. Then it goes on with saying place in cell A this image, and then B, right, so that's going to be the tiger picture that we saved in step 1. So let's go do the video section first. So I want to put the video in B, which is this cell here. So to do this, I'm going to go to Insert. We're going to go to HTML, and then from here we've got HTML5 video. So that added here, we can see here the video tag, okay? And then by clicking on the video, the icon here in the WYSIWYG, we can look down in the properties area and we're going to add the source tag, which it mentioned. So I'm just going to click on the little folder there. And because my HTML file is saved in the folder with all my other resources, I can see the video here. So I'm just going to select this and I'll click OK. All right, and then I'm going to look at the fallback text. Now the fallback text, essentially, if I just stretch this out over here, so we can see here, this is the table data. Okay, so that's what we set up before, and that's going to be the cell. Here's the video inside that table data, inside the TD tag. Okay, so that's the video controls, and there's the source. Now, and then it says here the type, and that video tag ends here. Okay, now before the video tag, after the type, we can type what we like, and that's going to be the fallback text. But it's much easier if we just click inside the properties area in Dreamweaver and just simply type what we want it to say. For example, the file type is not supported by your browser, and that's good enough. Okay, as soon as I click over here, you can see there it is, right before the end of that video tag here. That's where the video tag ends, right before we've got that paragraph there, that piece of text. Okay, now from the question paper, it said that the video source type, blah, 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 the video must fit the width of the cell. So if it's going to fit the width of the cell, and I know that this cell here is 58%, then I need to make this video file here take 100% width of that cell. So if you look at this area where I am here, if that's the cell, this piece here, then making it 100% will take the 100% part of that cell. So I'm going to click on this video icon here. So here's the video tag. So I'm just going to click in here and I'm going to write width equals to 100% in speech marks. Okay, and then when I click on this side, we can see that icon now has taken the full width of that cell. Now you can, if you like, click on the live view here, and that's going to show you the video. So we know that video has been added. Make sure you go back to design. I can also save and have a look at my preview. In fact, I'm going to do that now because I'm going to keep opening this up again and again. So I'm just going to click on save, and then from my video files, I'm also going to open my TAS HTML file in my browser. Let's just bring that up here. Okay, there we go. So that's what I've got up until now. Now I don't have any borders here. Okay, so I can't really see what's happening. So I could, if I wanted to, just to make my life a bit easier, for now, go to the table and I can add borders to this. So from the main table there, I'm going to go down to borders, add one. so I can actually see borders. Control S. Now, as I said, I don't suggest you do this because you may forget to remove the borders. So there we go. I can see my table structure. Here's my video in here. This table is taking 80% of my windows, so that's great, and everything looks good. I'm going to remember to take the borders off at the end of this before I actually print off my evidence. Now, in section A of that table, I'm going to add this file here, J2332 banner. So from here, I'm going to click in here. I'm going to go to Insert. Now, before I do that, I'm going to see if there's anything that it wants me to do. So place in the cell this. In C, we're going to put that. E, we're going to put the monkey. F, we're going to put this picture of an elephant. Okay, then make sure the aspect ratio is maintained for all images. Set appropriate alternate text for each image. So this is also very important. So for every image I add, I need to go and put an alternate text, basically to support the visually impaired, but at the same time I want to maintain the aspect ratio. Now if I just add the picture, so if I do that now, insert image, and I add my banner, J2332 banner, and click OK, there's my picture, and wow, that is big. In fact, if I click on this picture, I can see this is width 2000 and the height 262. So if I do a quick save with Control S and just see what that looks like here now, you can see it's so big, it's going beyond the scope of my screen, mainly because my screen is zoomed in for this video, but we can see that that is really quite big. All right, but because I've just added the picture, then obviously I haven't made any changes, so the aspect ratio is being maintained. However, it doesn't tell me what the width should be. And from my question paper, it does actually say that this table is working with percentages. So I could, if I wanted to, change that to be 100% of the containing cell. So if I make the width 100%, it will take the 100% width of the cell, and the height would automatically change, maintaining the aspect ratio. Now, that's an extra step for me. I don't have to do this. But if I do this, I'm not going to lose marks because all it says is maintain the aspect ratio. I'll do that at the end. Let's just see how this looks if I don't make any changes. So I'm going to go add my alternate text in here. So click on the picture in the ALT. I'm going to say what is this, Tawara Animal Sanctuary. So this is going to be the, oops, undo, in here an alternate text. Tawara Animal Sanctuary. Banner with elephants. Now, what are you going to put in here? Would help if I spell elephants correctly. Elephants. What you're going to put for the alternative text? Just put something that basically describes the picture. Don't just put one word. That's not a description. Don't just put elephants. You could put elephants crossing a river. You could put whatever you like, as long as it's representative of what that picture is. Let's go see what else I need to add. So in C, we're going to put the tiger that I saved in step 1. So C is in this cell here. So in here I'm going to go to Insert, Image, and I'm going to go put my tiger photo here. That's the one I made. And look at that, that's quite big as well. Okay, so let's just go put the alternate text. We can see here the width and the height. That's 500 by 1000. That's what I saved it as. Picture of a tiger. Then in E, I want J2332 monkey. So E, if we just double check, is that cell down here. So that's going to be, oh, let's scroll over a bit now. You see how big this is. That cell there. So insert, image, and that's going to be J2332 monkey, that one there, click OK. And then in the last one there, I want J2332 elephant. So to the right of that monkey in here, in this cell here, I'm going to put insert image elephant. Now there's two here. Now notice this one here is called J2332 elephant LF1, and the other one's called J2332 elephant. So be careful. Make sure you're inserting the correct image. And there it is there. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to do a quick save, file save, and let's just go see what this looks like. Okay, and you can see if I zoom out, I need to zoom out quite a bit, and that looks kind of messy. But it's not wrong. Okay, so this is an important thing right now. I haven't finished this yet, but this is not wrong. Why? Because I have maintained the aspect ratio. I mean, that's what it asked me to do. So that's what I'm doing. But for me, I don't like that. And this is why I said you've got to use a little bit of common sense. Since my table is using percentages, then I'm going to go and change all of these pictures, the width of the pictures, to be 100%, so that they don't work with pixels. So if I go with this one here, instead of keeping a fixed size, which is 2000 by 262, which means whatever the screen size is, this is not going to adjust to fit that screen size, is it? I'm going to change this to make this a little bit more logical, because these pictures are not going to adjust with the screen size. So I'm going to take away the height, and I'm going to change the width to 100%. And I'm going to do this for all my pictures. There we go. So that's that picture. I'm going to now do the monkey. Okay, so get rid of that. Now remember, the reason we get rid of the height is because if we change only one dimension and there is no mention of the other dimension, like the height in this case, then the height will automatically be adjusted according to whatever the width is, maintaining that aspect ratio, which is what is important. That's what they specifically said. We have to maintain the aspect ratio. They didn't say how or what size the picture should be. So this one here again, the tiger, that's the width and the height. I'm just going to get rid of that and make just the width 100%. Okay, is that all my pictures? Look at that, already this fits so much better. Let's just do Control S to save, and let's see what that looks like now. Now if I increase my, can you see now? As I adjust my screen, look, my pictures are now adjusting size according to the width of the browser window. And that makes sense. Now I'm not going to get any extra marks for this, okay? But I'm not going to lose any marks if I didn't do this, because I am actually following exactly what the paper said. It said make sure that the aspect ratio of the images is maintained, and you put appropriate text. So I just need to go put my alternative text for the monkey here. A group of monkeys. You could say 3 monkeys, 2 monkeys and a baby, but just something like that. Group of 3 monkeys I'll put. That's a better explanation. And here I've got elephant in the river, and you could say elephant in the river bathing. This one I put picture of a tiger. That one I put, so I've put alternative text on all of my images. Now isn't that great? Good. All right, let's move on. So number 4, we're going to read number 4. Place in cell D the contents of the file J2332 tas.txt. Display this as 2 paragraphs. Add as a 3rd paragraph. Let's get rid of that. The text that. So I'm just going to put that. Web page edited by with the colon followed by your name, center number, and candidate number. Apply style H2 to all text in D. All right. So first step, I'm going to go to my folder. So we're going to double click on this. There's my text. I'm going to copy this text. Control C. Can close that now, go over here and paste this in here. And now I just need to make sure there's 2 paragraphs, and it is. It already is 2 paragraphs. That's great. If I have a look at this, I can see I've got my paragraph, my P tag here, that P tag closes, and then I get the next P tag. So that's already 2 paragraphs. I'm just going to press enter here to add the 3rd paragraph, which it asked me to. and that is to say web page edited by, add my details, CY12712334, and I'm going to select this text and make that into, down here in the properties, I need to make it a heading 2. So I could actually put the H2 tag here, H2, put it there, that's fine, and then close it, get rid of that close from there. Okay. And then close it down here, that's fine. But I'm just going to do this the easy way. Remember, if you're using a Dreamweaver, it's just easier. Select your text. And then down here where it's got the format, we're going to just change that to heading 2. And that will put the H2 tags for you. And that's great. Okay. Okay, that's good. That's done. So number 5 says create a hyperlink from the image J2332 elephant.jpg to open the web page that. So this is going to be a link to a local file. So, and that's from the elephant. So let's go do that quickly. It doesn't say anything about the target or where this is going to be opened. It just wants a hyperlink to it. So I'm going to click on that picture there, the elephant there. And for the link here, I'm going to click on the folder down in the properties area and just tell it to open that file there, J2332 LF, and click OK. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to open that up again and just make sure that works. So first of all, let's just do a quick save, Control S. Now, the fact that I keep testing my website by previewing it in the browser is also a good idea to remind you to save as well. So before you're going to be able to preview any changes, you need to save. So this is a good little thing for you guys to do. So I've just saved that. And now if I look here, if I click on this, there you go, that works. So this is the predefined web page that they gave to us. So I'm just going to go back and leave that there. Now then, the next step, I'm going to go to my question paper. So we've done that. Number 6, create a hyperlink from the image from the monkey to send an email address to that email with the subject line support a monkey. Okay, now because what I'm going to do here is I'm going to click first of all on the picture of the monkey here, and I'm going to add the link down here to send that email. But you're not going to be able to see the whole line. I'm just going to do this in the notepad. So I'm just going to open up this text that we had before. Okay, so the line is going to look like this. Mail to, let's get rid of the caps. So mail to colon. Now we put the email address, so I can just copy that email address from here. And I'm lazy. Okay, it doesn't have all of it there, but that's fine. Let me just paste that in and correct it. So that's going to be task without the W. Now that's the email address. So if I just leave that line there, what it will do when they click on the picture of the monkeys, it will open up my email client and put their email address there for the to section. The from section is obviously my email. But I also want to add the subject as well. So I'm going to put a question mark. That question mark basically states that that's the end of the email address. I'm going to put subject equals to, and then I'm going to put whatever subject it wants. That's support a monkey. Okay, so that's the line that I want to add. So I'm going to copy that now, go to Dreamweaver, and with this picture clicked on, so it's selected, for the link for this, I'm just going to paste that line. Okay, and again, I've done something, so I'm going to quickly save this. Control S to save. And I go and preview this now. When I click on the monkey picture, you can see it's a hyperlink now. It should, there you go, it's opened up my browser, well, not my browser, it's opened up my email client, it's added the email address, the taskcambridge.org, and it's also added the subject. So that's all good, that's worked. So we can now move on. Next step is attach the style sheet J2332.tas. And we're going to attach that to the web page. So from here, now there's a number of ways to attach a style sheet. You can either write the code. My personal preference is this. Wherever you are, if you go down to the properties area where the class is, you can say attach a style sheet, browse, and find the style sheet you're going to add. So I'm going to click on that and click OK, and OK, and there we go. That all looks good. So again, I've done something. I'm going to do Control S on my keyboard. I'm going to refresh, make sure that works. Now, have you noticed something? This time around, now I actually added the borders to the table so that I can see my all the rows and the columns. And as soon as I attach the style sheet, it has actually removed the borders. So obviously the style sheet that they've given us has got something about the table borders being 0. So I don't really need to go back and remove that border, but I will do, since that is what it asked me to do. I won't lose a mark, I don't think. So just in case, I'm going to go and click on my table. Okay, so here's my table tag here, and where I've got the border here, I'm just going to remove that. I can either remove it from the properties or up here where the table is. Let's just get rid of that attribute there. Okay, remember I needed to go back and remove that. There we go. Okay, next part of the question. Save your web page. I've done that, thank you. Display the web page in your browser. Take screenshot evidence and place this in your evidence document. Make sure that all the page can be seen, all the text can be easily read, the address bar is fully visible. Now that's really important. So 2 things you need to notice here. Well, actually all 3. First, it says that all the page can be seen. It doesn't say that the whole page has to be seen on one screenshot. Now, guys, be careful. If they want it in one screenshot, they would say so. Which means if you didn't make the pictures 100% like I did, and you can't get your whole browser to show in one window, you actually have to scroll, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. Make sure you add it. What you don't want to do is to make it so small to make it fit that the text cannot be readable. Okay, so let's go ahead and do my one. So I'm just going to do a quick save again just in case. I'm going to open my browser window. Here it is. So that was the first thing. Now the next thing is you need to show that you are displaying this in your browser, which means you need this area at the top. You need that URL area at the top so that they can see where the location of this file is. Now you can see I've got some scrolling here, so I'm going to do this 2 ways, and this is entirely up to you. I can take a screenshot like this. I'm going to take the borders, there you go. I can do that up to that point there, and I'm going to show you what you must not do. Now this is going to be quite a big picture, so I could go on to the next page. I'm going to paste that there, make that a bit smaller, because that's a bit, see, that's more than readable. That's absolutely fine. Can you see that? But it's not the whole picture. Now notice what you're not going to do is this. Now I need to go and add the bottom part of my picture. Okay, so I'm just going to bring that up so I can see the bottom part as well, like this. Make sure I overlap what I had, and I'm going to put that at the bottom. Okay, now what I don't want to do is leave it like this. I need to adjust this so it's the same size as the other one, and that's going to allow them to see that the aspect ratios have been maintained. What you don't want to do, and I've seen this a number of times with other pictures, is do something like this, where they stretch it in like this. Now I've just killed the aspect ratio of these pictures here, the bottom part of the tiger. You're going to lose those marks. Okay, so you have to make sure when you're sizing your picture, you're doing it diagonally. So because I've maintained the aspect ratio of my pictures when I was making the web page, and if I do this now and I stretch this out like this, and I say, oh yeah, that looks better, it's taking more of my A4 page, I've just lost my marks for maintaining the aspect ratio because my pictures are distorted in the evidence. So please don't do the work in the web design and then distort it in the evidence. So that's one way you can do it. The other way you can do this is this. Because I've done this with the width properly, I'm going to zoom out to make sure everything fits in one page, hopefully, if I can. And then if I adjust the width of this, just bring it a bit smaller, can you see? Because everything works now, I'm thinking all the pictures are adjusting automatically. I'm thinking I can get all of this in one page. That's what I'm thinking. Oh, there we go. I've just zoomed out a little bit more. There you go. That looks pretty good. So I think my text is readable. Yep. And a bit more. There. So now I can take a screenshot like this. One screenshot. As I said, I don't have to. This is just my personal preference. And I can paste that there. Okay, and that just makes sure now, remember, I'm sizing diagonally. Okay, and that makes sure that that there looks okay. So the text is readable, everything is there. I haven't destroyed the aspect ratio from the evidence. I can now continue from that. In fact, I'm just going to bring this up here if I can. So I'm going to double click on that, go to the text wrap and make it tight. And just bring that up here. There we go. And just so that I can fit a bit more, I'm going to make my margins a bit bigger as well. There we go. Good. All right, and then I can go down to the next page for my next evidence. That's good. All right, so let's move on. What else do I have to do? Display the HTML source in your editor. Take a copy of the HTML source and place this in your evidence document. Now, it doesn't say a screenshot, it says a copy. So either one is fine. I'm going to prefer, so I'm going to put HTML source for my evidence here. Go to Dreamweaver, and I'm going to copy all of this source code here. So I'm just going to click here, scroll down, hold the shift button, there you go. Or you could do just Control A, Control C, and now I can simply press down here. Now, it would be nice to have this on one page. Now, you're doing ICT, I mean, seriously. So what I can do is just select all of this, and because it's double line space, I can reduce the line spacing from the paragraph and just put no, well, it's not double line spacing, it's actually got space after each paragraph. There we go. And that just puts your entire code in one page, or at least nice and tight and compact, rather than the examiner having to go through 3-4 sheets to find the code. Makes the examiner's life a little bit easier. Good. So then I'm going to go down to the next part. So I've done that. That's it. Web design finished. So I can now save this, file save, close Dreamweaver, and I can even close this thing here now. I'm finished with this. So close that as well. And now we're going to do the work in spreadsheets. Okay, first step, let's read it. Remember, you have to read all the information that's on here, because there is information here that you probably need and they won't refer to again later on. So it says here the Tawara Animal Sanctuary is currently running 3 projects, elephant, monkey and tiger. Income is from donations, and for each project they record the amount spent on food, veterinary bills and relocating the animals back into the wild. You will edit the spreadsheet for this data. All currency values must be in dollars and displayed to 2 decimal places. Now, 2 decimal places is not really an issue, because if you make something currency, it's going to be with 2 decimal places. Now, open and examine this file here, the CSV file, in your spreadsheet software. Copy and paste the contents of this. Okay, so before I start doing any of all this, I'm going to go have a look and see what they've given me. So here is, where's the CSV? Now this is the TAS folder, so I need to go back. That was for the web page. There's my project here, J2332 project. Let's double click on this. Okay, so let's just analyze this data really quickly. So first off, I've got a title up here. I can see all the months from January through to February, and project income, project, elephant, monkey and tiger, so that's separated there. And that looks, it says here income, so I'm assuming that's going to be the income where they're getting money, because that's what they said. They get in the income that they get, it actually said was from donations. So these are probably going to be donations. And then you've got here project expenditure, and there you go, relocation, veterinary, food, totals. So you're going to have the totals here most likely, and that's for elephant, that's for monkey, Okay, quite straightforward. But do take time to analyze your spreadsheet. It's very, very important that you analyze the spreadsheet. You have to, because if you don't familiarize yourself with it, then what they're asking you to do is not going to make sense. So, okay, I'm pretty comfortable with that. I think it looks very straightforward. I can't actually predict what they're going to do here. So, let's continue. Copy and paste the contents of cell A4 into cell B5. So what's in A4? A4 is the word income, and I want it not A5, B5. It said, yeah? Yes. So I'm just going to copy that, Control C, and put that in B5. Control V. Okay, copy paste doesn't make much sense there, does it? Okay, copy and paste that. Right, delete. There you go. Delete rows 3 and 4. Okay, so I'm just going to delete. Now, can you see it didn't make much sense? It did now when I read the next line. So remember, read ahead. I didn't do that this time, did I? So I'm just going to delete, select rows 3 and 4, right click and press delete, and there we go. So I'm going to actually read the header a little bit now. So place in the header, center align the text, spreadsheets. Let's just take that. Prepared by, okay, followed by a space, your name, center number, and candidate number, then a space, followed by on, followed by space, and today's automated date, then a space, followed by at, followed by, oh my lord. All right, let's just, all right, let's just go do that quickly. Right, so first step, I want to see the header and footer, so I'm just gonna take any selection I've got away, go to view, and I'm going to go to page layout. And in the page layout, I get my headers and my footers. So I want this center aligned. So it starts, enter that, spreadsheet prepared by. Okay, and then it wants followed by a space, your name, center number, and candidate number by. Okay, I've done that. So I'm up to there. Right, then a space followed by on, followed by space. So I want on, and today's automated date. So after that, space, on, space. So since I'm already in the header and footer section, you can see these quick access items at the top, and it says current date. So I'll put that. There's my current date. And so automated date. Then a space followed by at, followed by space. So at, automated time. So space at space, space at space, and then the current time. All right, that's it. That good? Save your spreadsheet with the file name project, center number, candidate number with underscores, for example, that. All right, so next step I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to view. Actually, I need to click outside and I can go to view, normal. Now, obviously, your header and footer won't display now. It's only going to display when you're in the page layout or when you're going to print. But I'm going to save this. So file, save as. I need to make sure I'm going to save this as an XLSX or Excel workbook. Otherwise, if I don't, any changes that I've made, which are not just pure text, will be lost. So that should be called J232. Right, save your spreadsheet in the file name project. Okay, so we're going to change that to project underscore center number underscore 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm thinking center number, candidate number. I'm trying to make sure you can't call me out on anything. Remember, if you do see me make a mistake, call me out. Center number, candidate number, that's good. Call me out in the comments. So I'm just going to click on save. There we go. And I'm going to double check that everything's done properly. So file, print, just to see what the print preview looks like. And there we go. At the top there, we can see center align the details that they wanted. Good. So I'm not going to print that yet now. Next. So we've done all of that. Good. So that was 6 marks. Seriously? All I did was copy, paste, and add 1 line. Oh well. Now I need to remember to go to make sure everything's displayed as dollars. So I'm not going to do that, but I'm going to keep coming back to that. And look, I am actually highlighting all this. So when I finish my exam and I've got my printouts, I'm going to compare my printouts to the question paper, not the electronic files, and everything that I've got highlighted, I need to make sure I can see in the printouts. So that's another reason to highlight. Merge cells A1 to N1. So actually, let me just read ahead. And then A9 to A12, A13 to A16, A17 to A20. Format the merge cell A1 to N1 to have a solid black background. Format the spreadsheet to look like this. So this is A1 to N1. Okay, and it's center aligned. So we might as well do that now. So I'm going to select A1 to N1. Go to the home ribbon, and then from here I've got merge and center. I'm choosing merge and center because I know it's going to be centered. Otherwise I could just choose merge across. Merge across will simply merge and leave everything where it is, but I want merge and center like that, and that's going to put it in the center. Then it wanted, let's have a look, A9 to A12, so A9 to A12, merge and center that one. And then that one there, which is A13 to A16, and then looks like A17 to A20. Let's just make sure. Now I'm centering these as well, but I'm just going to go have a look. The reason I'm centering them is because I can see that they are actually centered here. All of these here are actually centered. But I'm going to go through this anyway and double check, so that's not too much of an issue. Okay, so I need to change this to look like this. I can see the height of row number 1 is more than double. So I'm going to make number 1 slightly more than double. I'm going to click inside the cell, make that a black background. Writing is white. It's a sans serif font. So I could just leave it like that. Just leave it as Calibri and make it large. Bold. I'm thinking bold as well. Yes. Yes, it is. And it's center aligned vertically and horizontally. So I'm just going to make that a little bit bigger, and I'm going to center this like this, so you can see what this is doing. That's centered to the bottom, that's centered to the top, this is right in the middle. Okay, that looks good. Okay, so I've done all of that. Now I just, oh, I don't want to do that. Now I want to do format the spreadsheet to look like this. So what I'm going to do now, this is where I forget things and you call me out on them. So I'm going to do this now quickly. So first of all, I'm going to work methodically. I'm going to take that first row. The first row is bold, it's center aligned in row number 2. So I'm going to select number 2, make it bold. I'm going to make it center aligned. Okay, now I can see some of these things are being chopped off. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click in the top left corner here and double click between 2 columns, and that's going to automatically adjust all my column widths so nothing is cut off. That's good. So that's my first row. Let's see if I can do it this time without forgetting something. Okay, now row 3, how am I going to do this? All right, I'm going to take column A. So all of column A is bold and everything is centered, and these are actually centered vertically as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select my column A. I'm going to make everything bold like that, and I'm going to center align them as well like that. These ones I'm also going to center vertically like so. Right, now the image actually has got these dotted dots. I don't know whether they've got that there for any particular reason, but just to be safe, I'm going to put these dotted lines as well. Okay, so I'm going to select all the way up to here, and from here I'm going to go to my borders. So in the home ribbon here, I'm going to go to more borders. I'm going to choose a dotted line, and I'm going to put this dotted line all the way around the outside and the inside. I actually like using this method. There we go. So I've actually got those dotted lines as well. As I said, I'm going to try and make sure I don't forget anything this time. So I've done those lines. The next step is I'm going to look at column B. Now column B again is all center aligned, everything's in the middle. Okay, so column B, selecting all of that and making sure that's aligned to the center as well. Good. Are they all bold? No, they are not. Some of them are. So I want the month, income, expenditure, and balance. So the month is already done. Expenditure and balance. Oh, not that one. Balance and expenditure should be bold. Okay. These have got a grey background. So that's month, project name, project expenditure, project balance. So month, project income. So these are going to have a grey background. That would do. Income needs to be bold as well. I bet some of you saw that. You said, I've spotted something. He's going to forget it. I haven't though, have I? I've seen it. There it is there. Okay. I also want the total to be bold. So where it says totals. These are quite tricky, aren't they? Again, you've got plenty of time, so pay attention. I'm rushing this because this is a tutorial. I don't want to take too long. So you can skip ahead if you want. But if you really want to try and catch me out, by all means. So that's all done. All of the numbers here, these are all right aligned. Okay, row number 7 and 21, they're actually narrower. So all of these are right aligned. So 7 is narrow and it's actually quite small. It's less than half, so that'll do. Okay. Anything else? I need to make everything, I'm going to make everything now dollars as well since I'm here, just in case I forget. So I'm going to select all of these numbers here and I'm going to choose from here. I'm going to go to more number formats and number, actually currency, and I'm going to choose English United States. There it is there. Okay, now some of these have expanded a little bit, so just to make sure everything shows, I'm going to select everything by clicking the top left corner, double click in between two columns. There we go. Make sure everything fits nicely. Am I done? Is that it? Have I done everything? I think so. From what I can see, I think I have. So I'm just going to leave that there so I don't delay this anymore. And now I can move on. Okay, so I've done that. 7 marks. Wow, fantastic. Okay, so place in appropriate cells functions to calculate the total expenditure for each project for each month. Each project, each month, I want the total. So these are the projects. So here's the project expenditure. These are the 3 projects here. Appropriate cells to calculate the total expenditure for each project for each month. So that's going to be these cells here. So the total expenditure for this month, January, for this project should be equals to, let's just zoom that in a bit. Is it this? Seriously, guys, you've got such an easy paper. Equals to the sum of, open brackets, that, close, press enter, and I can just copy paste that over. Okay, and let's do the next one. Equals to the sum of, open brackets, so I want for this project monkeys, so that's the relocation of veterinary and food. Close brackets, copy that over. All right, and then for the tiger one, equals to the sum of these 3 here. Please don't, actually, let me, please don't do this. Equals to the sum of that plus that plus that. Okay, like that. Don't do that. Equals to, use your function. I mean, seriously, it's a ridiculously easy function. And not only that, I think it says use a function. Let's have a look. Does it? Functions. Okay, so if you did do a calculation, so if you did do, for example, this one plus this one plus this one, you won't get any marks for that. Okay, you won't get any marks, but it specifically asks for functions, and that's not a function. A function has to have a function name like sum if, count if, VLOOKUP, lookup, XLOOKUP. These are functions. Okay, so that's good. I've done that. That was easy. 3 marks. Okay. Place in cell C23 a formula to calculate the balance for the elephant project in January. Let's just have a quick look at that now. January, let's zoom out a bit. January, the elephant project. I want the balance. Okay. This is income for this project for this month minus the total expenditure for this project for this month. Then it says calculate in cells 24 and 25 the balances for the other 2 projects. So let's do this first one. So this is the income for the project for this month, the income for the month minus the expenditure for the project. So the income is here. This is elephant. All right, so I'm getting these things here. So let me just click in the top right corner, double click between 2. There we go. So that's the income for the elephant project in January. So down here in elephant, I want to do equals to the income from elephant, that one there, minus the expenditure, which is that one there. Yeah, that makes sense. Correct. So C23, this is the income for this project for this month minus the total expense. That's just it, just a calculation. All right, calculating cell C24 and 25, the balances for the other 2 projects. So for monkey project, what I want to do is I'm going to click in here, equals to, that's the income minus the total expenditure, which is that one. And then down here, I'm going to do equals to, so I want to do the income for tiger minus the expenditure for tiger, which is that one there. Okay, that's for January. I suspect I'm going to want to do the rest. There you go. Replicate these 3 formula for all the other months. So I can simply select these, drag them over. Now you can see we've got some of these hashtags here. So again, I'm going to click in the top right corner, double click between 2 and make sure everything displays. And it's automatically added the $signs for me because it's using these ones here I calculated from the data up here, which essentially is already formatted as currency, so it picks up on that. Okay, let's move on. Apply appropriate formatting to all cells containing numeric data. So the appropriate formatting here is essentially what it asked us up here. All values must be in dollars, 2 decimal places, so we've done that. So number 13, apply conditional formatting to only the cells in the range C23 to N25, so that if a cell contains a value greater than or equal to 0, then the cell has a light green background with a dark blue text. Less than 0, the cell has red text on white background. Place in your evidence document a screenshot showing the conditional formatting rules, cell ranges and formats. Okay, so from C23 to N25. So I'm going to select here from C23, that one there, all the way to N25, that's that range there. Just going to zoom that in. Don't worry about these hash, let's just do that now anyway. As you zoom in and zoom out, it does actually change. So again, there's my selection there. I'm going to go to Home, Conditional Formatting. I'm going to add a new rule. And this rule is going to be based on, so a new rule here is going to be based on what those cells contain. So I want the first one is going to be greater than or equal to 0. So cell value here, greater than or equal to 0. And then for the format, it said a light green background. I don't know why they use colors, because we don't you don't send everything in color. We just sent it in black and white. And then the font should be a dark blue. Okay, so the exam specifications don't say you have to submit printouts in color. Click OK. That's the first one. And then it also wants less than 0 red text on a white background. New rule. Cells that contain, that's the cell value, less than 0, less than 0 format. I only want the font color now, which is going to be red, and click OK. So that's just going to leave it as a white background. If you want, you can put the fill color as well as white, that's fine. But the default is white anyway. Well, the default is the color of the paper you're printing on. Click OK. Oh, and there we go. All right. So, okay, so I want the evidence of the conditional formatting rules with everything. So again, I'm just going to select this range of, and I have to select the range of cells. If I try and do this, conditional formatting, manage rules, I don't see my rules because there are no rules in this cell which I have selected. So I'm just going to click on close. I'm going to select my range, click on conditional formatting, manage rules, and there we go. Here I can see in here and here the cell range where these rules are applied. I can see the rule less than 0, greater or equal to 0. Does it want anything else? Show conditional formatting rules and the cell ranges and formats. Okay, so we could add the format in there as well. So these are the formats here. So this screenshot here is perfect. So I'm just going to add that and put that there. Okay, so this is format, conditional formatting. That's the conditional format. I'll just leave that as that and put that there. Good. Give that a quick save. Go back. Go to my question paper. Guys, that's it. Well, it's nearly it. Placing evidence, right, so save your spreadsheet, print your spreadsheet showing the formula. Make sure that the row and column headings are displayed, the page orientation is landscape, the contents of all cells are fully visible and can be easily read. Well, I'm not going to print these, but I am going to actually print them as a PDF so I can show you the whole process. So print your spreadsheet showing the formula. Now, the first thing that you want to do is to display the formula. So let's just get rid of that. Click OK, cancel on that. So the first step is display the formula. So from here, I'm going to go to formulas and I'm going to show formulas right there. Now, obviously, this is quite big. So what I'm going to do again is I'm going to click the top left corner, double click between two columns. And now I've got my work compact enough, but without cutting anything off. Okay, so there's my spreadsheet there. I'm going to go to File, Print. Now I need to make sure everything is visible. So the first step is to make this, I'm going to try and put this all on one page, but you have to make sure it's readable. Don't make it microscopic writing. So the first thing I'm going to do is change the orientation to landscape, as it said. And again, you can see this is 2 pages, and that's fine. There's no problem with that. I need the row and column headings, so I'm going to click on the page setup there. Go to Sheet and add the row and column headings so we can see these now. Now, the reason they ask for the row and column headings is for this exact reason, because you're probably going to have multiple sheets and they need to make sure you put the formulas in the right place. So, but I'm going to show you how you can squeeze this and make it viewable, but on one page. Next step, I'm going to change my margins, custom margins. I'm going to reduce the left and right margin. There's not much point doing the top and bottom margins because the top and bottom fits. So I'm just going to take that down, but be careful when you print this that you can actually see everything on the edge. Okay, I'm still on 2 pages. And then finally, I'm going to go to scaling and say fit all columns on one page. So that there now for me is actually more than readable, but you're going to be the judge of that when you actually print it and see it. If you could, and what I do, I tell my students is hold your printout arm's length in front of you, and if you can read the text, that's fine. If you can't, then there's no way an examiner can read it up close. All right, so I'm going to print this to my PDF printer. You would print to a printer. I'm going to save this in my desktop here. I'm just going to call it Excel form for formulas. Save. There we go. So that will be like printing. So did I do all of this? The contents of all the cells are visible. Yes, I've done all that. Then print your spreadsheet showing the values this time. Make sure the printout fits on a single landscape page. So this one has to be on a single page. The row and column headings are not displayed. The contents of all cells are fully visible. So again, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go to formulas at the top, remove the show formulas here. Now I need to click in the top left corner, double click between two columns. Everything is visible. And now I can go to file print. Now this actually fits on one page because it's taken my settings from before. And if it didn't, again, you can mess around with your margins. I can actually give my margin a little bit more space there, for example. I don't want the row and column headings. I'm going to click on the page setup, sheet, remove that, click OK. That looks okay. And everything's on one page. Again, you need to have this, fits all columns on one page. That actually changes the percentage of the size of the printout and make sure it fits on one page. And then I'm going to go to print to my PDF. You will print to your printer, and I will call that Excel values or val. Save. Seriously, this Excel spreadsheet problem for you guys was simply a sum function, which is definitely not IGCSE level, and one calculation. I mean, literally that was it. So let's have a quick look at our printout. So there's my one printout. You can see that's more than visible enough. Even if I make it small, that's still visible. And then my other one is this one here. Just double check it looks okay. Everything's on one page. All right, well, that's it. I think that is it. We finished. Yep, print. And then save and print your evidence document. So essentially, I will print this off as well. I'm not going to print this off because it is a Word document. I will just send it to my printer. All right, so what you need to do once you have finished is the following. You switch off, or actually close all applications you've got open. For example, Excel. I'm just going to click on Save. It's already saved. I'm going to close that. No, it's not saved, so File Save. And then close that. And only from your printouts, go through the question paper in one hand, your printouts in the other hand, read through the question paper, and everything it says in that question paper, you should be able to see in your printouts. If it's not in your printouts, you're losing the mark. So what can I say? What an easy paper that was. That was ridiculously easy. I think that was probably one of the easiest papers I've seen. But there was a little bit of thought process there. We had some image manipulation, which we haven't had for quite a few years. I haven't seen any kind of real image manipulation in the papers recently. So yeah, as always, be careful, read the questions carefully, and the most important thing, take your time. At the end of your exam, any time you've got, you spend it to try and find errors. Now, talking of errors, well, why don't you have a look through this tutorial, and as you're looking through the tutorial, have a look and see, have I missed anything out? If I have, you know the drill. Leave a comment and just call me out on it, and so everyone else can see it as well. But apart from that, if you've enjoyed this video, you found it useful, you think it's helpful to you, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. I'll see you again in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.